If you are frustrated with your slice serve, this is the video for you to watch from beginning to end, because I'm going to teach you how you can master your slice serve 100% on your own. Let's get right into this lesson, because I bet you're having one of these three issues. Okay, when I work with people who come here all the time to train with me here in Atlanta, and if you want to come train with me too, make sure you go click the link below. You come train with me. We're going to have Serve Saturday at our hyper-focus camp, and we go over the serve big time. So if you're struggling with the serve, you definitely want to come out here and train here in Atlanta with me. Now, these are the three issues I see over and over again. Number one is the toss. Okay, so to have a really good slice serve, what you do not want is a Roger Federer serve toss. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple different serve tosses that are going to mess you up. But I think so many people, when you watch Sampras, when you watch Federer, you're like, yes, that's the greatest toss ever, because I could basically just toss one toss over my head and I can hit every single serve. The problem is you and I are not Roger Federer or Pete Sampras. So I like to have my students have a little bit of a cheat to where it's going to give you much more advantage to the slice serve a lot easier. Does that make sense? So let me show you some of the common mistakes I see on a toss, and then what's the easiest toss to start hitting a massive amount of slice so you can get the ball off the court like you just saw at the beginning of this video. So here we go, guys. If you are tossing the ball like Roger Federer, you're trying to throw it right over your head, yes, you can hit all the serves. You can hit flat, you can hit slice, you can hit kick. But when we're hitting slice, what we want to do is we want to get the feeling that we're coming around the ball, and we want to feel nice rotation in our hips and our shoulders. By throwing the ball over our head like this, for most recreational players, it kind of locks up their hips and their shoulders, and they're not able to really get a lot of power. They hit a lot of balls in the net, and they don't really get the ball off the court. It tends to end up more like in the middle of the box and in the net, and they're trying to get that ball over the net and off the court. This is what I find happens a lot of the time. It ends up being a little more kicky than slicey, okay? So by throwing the ball more out to the side, and I'm going to show you specifically where you want out to the side, but by throwing the ball out to the side, it's very easy for my body to start to hook around and get the ball off the court. Look at the difference in how I was struggling to get this ball over the net. And then once I change my toss, how it gets the ball so easy. It's so easy to get that ball sliding off the court. And in my opinion, even if my opponent knows that I'm going to be able to slice it out there, it doesn't matter. If I can get them all the way off the court, I have a wide open court to hit in. If I'm a singles player, if I'm playing doubles, I can set up my partner for easy poaches and myself for easy first volleys. Okay, so now that we know that we want the ball a little more out to the side, where do we want the ball along the baseline? Another thing, remember when I said you want these hips and these shoulders to rotate easily, especially you want to get that ball off the court and wide. So the more you throw the ball like even with the line or behind the line, you're going to feel like your body's in a little bit of a fight with the ball. You're going to feel jammed here, and again, it gets hard to get the ball off the court. You see I'm kind of locked up there, and it will tend to have your ball go higher and more kicky than low, fast, and that slice that goes off the court. So once you learn how to do this, and my students, when they do this, an aha moment happens. You want that ball out into the court like that far. So instead, where you want that slice serve is you want the ball to basically bounce a little bit into the court. The more your body can stretch out in the court and feel comfortable, the better. It's going to be easier to get around the ball and get the ball off the court. If I can put the ball out into the court and have to reach forward in the ball, that allows me to easily rotate around the ball. You see that? So if I have to reach for it, that's going to help me get the ball off the court. Let me do that again. I want to reach for that ball out there and get it off the court. One more. Well, that's maybe a little too far. I want to be able to reach out. And get around, okay? It's good if you don't jump to have this nice little step around too, because this helps you rotate and really get that ball off the court. Okay, now the second bad habit I see with recreational players that's preventing them from having a good slice serve is something I call the forward swing, or almost like a cat. You know how a cat scratches their ear when they're cleaning themselves? This forward swing is not the way the pros are swinging, okay? And most of you, through muscle memory, are naturally going to, especially if you're self-taught, you're naturally going to develop a forward swing motion, because that makes sense if you're holding the frying pan grip. But remember, for the slice serve, we want to be in a continental grip. We really want those strings to be open so we can cut that ball and put spin on it. So if I've trained myself for a year or two or 5 or 10, however long you have before you're learning this new grip and serve motion, you're used to swinging in close to your ear, because that's where the control and the power is. Swinging in close here, okay? But that's not the swing path what the pros are using, okay? You actually want to loop out or circle out. I like to call this the boomerang, okay? You want to think of your serve motion like a boomerang. You know how when you want a boomerang, you're going to basically throw out that way, and then the boomerang is going to go out and then hook around and then come back to you. That is the swing path of what the pros are doing, what you're not doing. So get in the habit. First of all, just do some practice shadow swings. Get yourself stand a little more like this as opposed to this, and get comfortable swinging out this way. Loop out this way and then around. And I like to also finish with something I call the ice cream scoop finish. I like to pretend that this is a big oversized spoon. I'm getting my ice cream, and then I can basically have some of my ice cream. Treat myself to an ice cream for a nice slice serve. So again, instead of swinging like this, and this is what a lot of people do, they start to go, oh, I need to come up on edge. So they're literally coming up on edge like this, and then they hear, now I need to pronate as I hit. You see, so they're like going edge, pronate. No, that's not the swing path. It's a natural opening up or pronation, however you want to think about it, to where as I'm going, it's not like my edge is coming up like this and then hitting the ball. My edge is going out like this, and then it naturally will hit the ball and then come around. And a lot of people really don't explain that well enough. So you want to, if you're coming up on edge but you're swinging out this way, now look, all of a sudden now I can actually hit the ball with my strings. And depending on how I'm aiming at the tennis ball, I'm really thinking about, if I'm taking a look at this pen, I'm really thinking about getting around the outside of that ball. And so now when I add that swing path, think about swinging out towards a light post over there. Look at the light post across from you at your local court, and try and swing out that way and then cut around the ball. Swing out to the light post and then cut around the ball. That's what you want to be doing as you're in your slice. Out to the light post, around the ball. Now you can see that ball slicing off the court. Right there is our best one, okay? So think about that as you're working on your swing path. And then the last thing we're going to fix, I call the helicopter slice. Let me explain that to you. Now, whether you're using the correct grip or the wrong grip for the slice serve, even as you're transitioning to the correct grip, to have a serve be effective with the wrong grip, the frying pan grip, and I don't like to call it the wrong grip because, let's face it, there's millions of tennis players out here using this grip at a 3.0, 3.5 level, and they're winning a ton of matches. So I don't necessarily think it's a wrong grip, right? I like to say it's actually the right grip until it's wrong. It has limitations, but it also has advantages. It's nice and simple to put in play, but I'm not going to be able to really slice the ball really well. But in order to do that, I need to, the correct technique is to flop the racket head open into the pizza move and then hit the ball. So then even though I start changing my grip, most likely because I'm so used to doing this with my hand, even with the correct grip, I'm still going to do that. And then my palm is going to be coming up to hit the ball, and this is why I call it the helicopter slice. It's going to come up to hit the ball, and I'm probably going to hit the ball somewhere around here on my strings, here or below, right? Here or below, I'm going to hit on my strings, and then that's going to make the ball go up in the air really high. And so I'm not going to get, I'll be hitting slice on the ball, but I'll be hitting kind of like high. I like to call this the helicopter, right? Because that kind of reminds me of, it's just fluttering like that. It's not really going through the court. And that's probably because you're leading and going up with your palm and then around the ball. And so you're like, oh, this is cool. I'm learning how to hit slice. I'm getting it. And you are getting it because you're feeling how to get rotation in the ball. You can see those balls clearly have rotation, but we have no power. And after a couple of games, your opponents are going to start to read that and just eat it up. So what's the difference between recreational players 3-0 to 4-0 and then some of the better players or teaching pros or pros on the tour when they're able to get a lot of power in their slice? What are they doing? I like to think about it like, again, a professional athlete throwing a ball. If you are basically throwing it like a shot put and up, well, then you're going to have that helicopter slice. If you watch the pros when they throw, even if they're going to throw a long bomb, they're releasing up here at the top, right? You want a full extension. You want to feel like you're kind of getting over the ball. So what you want to do is practice throwing a ball and getting up here to the absolute top. The absolute top, and then releasing. Now you can start to get that power, because what we want to do, tennis is kind of weird, right? Because you should be swinging up. You have to swing up at the ball in tennis. That's why you want a really good tilt. But at the same point, even when as I learned coaching, hey, when you swing at a serve, you're swinging up at the ball, because it feels the opposite. It feels like you're swinging down on the ball. So you kind of want that feeling of swinging up this way, but then once you're hitting the ball, you want to feel like you're getting over the top of it and almost swinging down on the ball. Does that make sense? Because we want our sweet spot to be up here. Like, we want it middle and up, and then we can get over the top of that ball and add more pace. Then we leave the helicopter slice serve, right? And we start to get a slice serve that has some nice pop on it. You see how that ball went so much faster? I missed it by that much, but that's not the point. It went so much faster than the last serve. So you want to feel like you're getting over the top of the ball, right? So something you can do just to practice that is you can get closer to the net. I'll do a couple here and try and spike the ball down into the box, but also have some slice on it, and then you know you're doing it right. So I'll bring the camera closer because I'm getting kind of far away. So again, guys, you want to get close to the net. You're going to put a little bit of slice on the ball, but you want to think more like flat slice and really get on the top of the ball here, covering the ball, if you will. And if you can get that ball to go down the box, which is hard for a lot of recreational players to do, because they have this helicopter move, when they stand this close, they tend to hit everything really long and floaty, and they have a tough time getting over the top of the ball. So that's what I'm doing here. It gets a lot easier to get the ball over the net from here, obviously. And you have to have really good racketed speed, wrist mobility to get this thing to work for you. So here I come. These balls got a little bit of slice on them. You can see how it's getting off the court. They got a little bit of slice on them, but I'm really coming over the top of that ball. It's a very, very fun drill. I'll put the camera over there in the corner so you can see it coming at you. So remember, guys, these serving tips are so easy. A dog could do it. Remember, sign up for my 7-day serve challenge. If you want to come visit me, take a look at the Serve Saturday at the Hyperfocus camp. I got the link below. We're going to be opening some new spots up here towards the late summer. And good luck to your tennis game. Say bye, B2. Say goodbye. He says bye.